The following video is brought to you by Manscaped. Stay tuned until the end to find out more. It may be hard to remember in 2020, but there was once a time on the internet where short-form animation reigned supreme. Today, the animation genre on YouTube is mostly dominated by storytime channels. But back in the day, animators on Flash sites dominated the market. And during this golden age, no name stood taller than Homestar Runner. At the time, one of the most iconic names on the entire internet. Even though this series and its cast of characters were insanely popular on the World Wide Web 15 years ago, if you ask a kid nowadays who Coach Z or Pom Pom are, they'd almost certainly have no idea what you're talking about. Which makes me wonder what happened to this once adored show to fade out of our collective consciousness. Well, to find that out, we'll first have to go back a few decades. The concept for Homestar Runner was first created in 1996 by Mike Chapman and Craig Zobel, while they were students enrolled in the University of Georgia. As the story goes, one day the two were browsing through a local bookstore when they stumbled upon the children's book section. As they looked through the books for sale, they quickly became annoyed by how simple and dumb the stories were, inspiring them to take matters into their own hands and make their own children's book. They returned home and in a mere day had created a finished story, debuting now iconic characters such as Strong Bad, Bubs, the Cheat, and of course Homestar Runner himself. Mike and Craig never intended Homestar Runner to be anything more than a fun project to knock out in a day. That's not to say they didn't take pride in their work though, as the two quickly went on and printed about 10 copies, which they distributed amongst their family and friends. However, it seems that Mike's father had other plans as he, unknown to the writers, sent the book off to 80 different publishers in an attempt to sell it. Despite how many publishers saw the manuscript, each and every one of them turned it down. This obviously wasn't the end for Homestar Runner though, they just needed a proper medium for it. As the years went on, Mike and his brother Matt began to get interested in animation. They had previously experimented with it in the game Mario Paint, but things really took off with the rise of Flash animation in the late 90s. Flash was nothing short of a game changer to the medium of animation, giving people of all walks of life the means to create their own cartoons, and the file sizes were small enough that they could be seen by people with slow internet, a major hurdle at the time. In 2000, the brothers finally began releasing these cartoons on their own private website, appropriately named Homestar Runner. This was at a time when we were still half a decade away from YouTube being a thing, so to say they were pioneers of online videos is an understatement. These early cartoons were very simply made, with Mike doing the bulk of the animation and Matt, as well as Mike's girlfriend Missy, providing voices. In the beginning, the stories mainly focused on Homestar Runner competing with his sibling Strong Bad in various competitions. However, the brothers quickly got bored with this format, choosing instead to focus more on the day-to-day lives of their characters, and the various misadventures they would get themselves into. At first, Homestar Runner's growth was slow, until August of 2001 when they introduced a new series known as Strong Bad Emails. These cartoons featured Strong Bad reading emails from fans and answering their questions with humorously terrible advice, a concept no one had ever seen before. These weekly cartoons blew up across the internet, and at its height, the website managed to reach over 7 million views a month, in a time people couldn't even comprehend an online cartoon having such a wide reach. Without a doubt, the most popular video from the site was Strong Bad Emails episode 58, which was posted in January of 2003. This episode, titled Dragon, featured Strong Bad drawing a dragon which he named Trogdor, the Burninator. Trogdor, along with its accompanied song, caught on like wildfire and quickly achieved meme status, with it even appearing in Guitar Hero 2. This stood out amongst the rest as one of Homestar Runner's greatest achievements. As its popularity grew, Homestar Runner began to see its fair share of mainstream attention. Shows like Mystery Science Theater 3000 and Buffy the Vampire Slayer began adding references to the cartoon, but perhaps the biggest crossover for them came in 2004, when they got a chance to work with the band They Might Be Giants. Mike and Matt received a demo tape from the band, which they were able to make into an exclusive video. There's no doubt that the show's height was in the mid-2000s. In addition to their animated shorts, the Chapman brothers were also interested in branching Homestar Runner out into different mediums. This started small with simple browser games including a soundboard and a few parody Atari classics. However, as their ambitions grew, they decided to take their efforts to the next level. In 2008, Mike and Matt announced Strong Bad's cool game for attracting attractive people. This was a point-and-click adventure game developed by the now-defunct Telltale. The game was released in segments, with a total of 5 episodes being published over the course of a year. At the time, both Telltale and Homestar Runner were widely beloved studios and publishers, so each episode gained high praise from both critics and audiences. For a while, it seemed like Mike and Matt had a chance of making Homestar Runner and Strong Bad household names, the next SpongeBob and Scooby-Doo if you will, with YouTube being a potentially great place to expand their audience. On top of this, there were rumblings of a full-fledged TV show, but it soon turned out that from this point onward, things would be slowing down. In 2009, the Chapman brothers decided that they needed a break. Not only did they now both have their own families, but after nearly a decade of making cartoons on a weekly basis, they were beginning to feel burnt out. They assured their audiences that this would not be the end of Homestar Runner, but they did not know when they would return. Thanks to their online success, both brothers were able to easily get jobs in the animation industry, working on incredibly popular shows like Yo Gabba Gabba, Wander Over Yonder, and Gravity Falls for Disney. Over this hiatus, Mike and Matt still continued to make the occasional Homestar Runner cartoon on an extremely infrequent basis, but every time you'd go back to their website, you'd notice more and more often just how dated its Flash layout had become, as it still operated like we were in 2000. This semi-hiatus lasted until 2014, when the brothers moved back to Georgia and announced that they were now able to continue work on Homestar Runner, just not as consistently as they used to. The reason for this is they planned on doing some other side projects as well. Nowadays, most of their uploads tend to be holiday specials. Perhaps the biggest recent update for Homestar Runner came in July of 2018 when the Chapman brothers launched a Kickstarter for Trogdor, the board game. By the end of the campaign in August, they had acquired over $1 million in backing, proving that despite having been gone for several years, fans' love for Homestar Runner had not died down. I would assume that nowadays they have a small but loyal audience made up of mostly old school fans from Flash Animation's golden age. While people like to point at them stepping away from the site in 2009 as the explanation for the fall of Homestar Runner, looking back now on Google Trends, it appears that by that point in time, the series was already well past its heyday. So if them quitting wasn't the cause for the fall of the show, what was? Well, my guess would be YouTube. Let me explain. As Google Trends just showed us, Homestar Runner was on a decline after 2004, and I believe this is because of the rise of YouTube in 2005, which changed the way people consumed online video. While there's no doubt the Chapman brothers were very good at making creative Flash videos and were ahead of their time in many regards, when video streaming sites came along, they weren't quick to capitalize on this next evolution in the industry, instead opting to continue uploading on their novel but dated Flash website instead. As YouTube became the standard for watching videos on the internet, a new generation of content creators would soon eclipse the once kings of an industry. It wasn't until 2009 when they stopped making new content that they finally uploaded their back catalog onto YouTube. But without an understanding of the platform, they never gained any traction. What worked in the year 2000 on a Flash website didn't translate to the high-stakes world of YouTube content creators, where everyone is trying to figure out the best thumbnail/title combos to optimize their click-through rates. Their videos often had boring, repetitive thumbnails and uninteresting titles that didn't allow them to grow. If in 2005 they had adopted this new platform, I think there's a chance that younger people would still know about Strong Bad to this very day. And it's a shame they didn't, because looking back now, their content still holds up. Their writing's clever, the humor's charming, and the characters are memorable. But they missed their chance to grow along with the online video industry. Now, to be fair, maybe that was in their best interest. They went on to work on some beloved shows, and hopefully now with some money saved up, they can work on smaller projects without being a slave to the algorithm like the rest of us. Still, looking back, it's a shame that this is a website many have forgotten about. And I strongly recommend checking out their back catalog if you aren't acquainted with Strong Bad and Friends. In conclusion, the story of Homestar Runner is an early but classic example of internet fame. Starting simply with a pair of brothers making cartoons in their spare time, they ended up creating a beloved staple of the online world, as well as leading the online animation boom of the 2000s. Before I finish this video today, I just want to quickly thank my sponsor, Manscaped. Manscaped is the only men's brand dedicated to below-the-waist grooming and hygiene. The new and improved ergonomic trimmer with advanced skin-safe technology optimizes the easy grooming experience that we all know and love from the Lawnmower 2.0. When you purchase the new Perfect Package 3.0 kit online at manscaped.com, you get the biggest bang for your buck. As a subscriber, you get a new replacement blade refill for your lawnmower trimmer delivered to your door every 3 months, making sure your trimmer stays fresh and clean. Also, for a limited time, subscribers get not 1 but 2 free gifts: the Shed Travel Bag and the patented high-performance anti-chafing Manscaped Boxer Briefs. Right now, you get 20% off plus free shipping for your Perfect Package 3.0 purchase when you use promo code GFM at manscaped.com. To find out more, click on the link in the description down below.